All right, guys. So basically, just to kind of review what we just did, okay? And again, this is where we talk about it's so important to understand channels. And also, just keep reminding yourself, you're not looking at a 1 minute channel. All these candles here, right? All these candles here are its own story, okay? It's literally its own story. And every single one of these candles, you know the beginning, right? You know the ending of the movie. You know the beginning of the movie. And now you just got to figure out who has control, right? Who has control of the middle of the movie. And that's why these things are all pieces to the puzzle. So we knew here that initial move this morning, which I didn't take, this initial move this morning, it stopped perfectly at supply, right? It stopped perfectly supply on the 60-minute view. And then we knew, we were talking about the sneaky pivot the whole morning, okay? We were talking about the sneaky pivot the whole morning. So once we established how much range we had, again, because again, if you believe in the theory that stocks go from supply to supply to supply to supply, then you understand that 95% of the time they're going to pause there. So that break that we just took off that, that break we just took off that 60, what was it? That 60, where the hell did I buy this thing? That 60, hold on. The 67.82 level. The 67.82 level, that was the high from this candle, and it stopped perfectly at supply. So our next area of interest is going to be in the afternoon, and if it could take out this whole multiple base here, right? All these points of interest. Look how many candles of data we have here, folks. Okay, look how many candles of data we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of data. So if we can get a break above this 269 level, okay, if we can get a break above that 269 level and it builds off that 269 level, we can see a move to 271.5. And that's the whole point of the PS60 theory. It's not trying to figure things out. It's watching order flow, watching consolidation.
Market gains now of 8.
And the most important part is understanding if they didn't build, okay, if we didn't get that valid build over that $68 level, okay, on Tesla, we would have been out. We would have been out. And that's when we talk about that clock starting. And if that clock started, okay, and we couldn't see the progression off the pivot, we would have been out of the trade. We would have been out of the trade for a worst case scenario, flat trade. But it did what it had to do. And now we're watching this thing for the afternoon or for Monday above this 269 area. And if it builds above this 269 level, there's a lot of room to the next supply zone of 271.50. So we're definitely going to keep track of that trade as well. All right, guys.